News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and 98.3 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Lolo Peak evacuations going smoothly so far. Good morning, everyone. Montana Morning, Tuesday, August 15th, 2017. Right now, the sky is cloudy. We have 52 degrees in Missoula. Let's check the air quality. It's looking pretty good in Missoula and Frenchtown right now. As a matter of fact, it is rated as good. A moderate in Hamilton, but in Seeley Lake, unfortunately, it has gone back to hazardous air quality there in Seeley Lake. Our newscast this morning sponsored by First Montana Bank, your home for free centennial checking, unlimited cash back whenever you use your debit card. One of our top stories this morning, evacuations from the Lolo Big Fire started early Sunday morning. Fire Information Officer Sig Palm said the evacuation has been proceeding flawlessly so far, with all contact to his hotline being calm and courteous.
For the first 24 hours, it's been as smooth as I've ever experienced in my life. Between the Sheriff's Office, the Missoula Rural Metro, and Forest Service Incident Management Team, and look at the logistics, the impacts on people, impacts on the traffic, impacts on the residents, and make it as smooth as could be. And, that all worked out.
U.S. Highway 12 has been closed to through traffic starting in mile marker 16. However, there are detours available to all but commercial trucks and RVs. RSVP volunteer Lee Silliman, answering the county's evacuation hotline, said Monday that the detour will take drivers from U.S. Highway 12 to Interstate 90.
They can exit to Missoula by turning north on Graves Creek Road, and because it's a gravel road, and they travel north on that, and you merge into Petty Creek Road, which continues north and comes out on Interstate 90. There
is an information trailer set up by the Forest Service at the intersection of US 93 and US Highway 12 in Lolo. NBC Montana reports the Missoula Fire Department confirms a fire west of Duncan Drive in the west side of the Rattlesnake neighborhood of Missoula has been knocked down. They're now in the mop-up stage. The fire sparked in Missoula's North Hills near the intersection of Duncan and Mountain View Drives. Residents were not evacuated. Officials went door to door, alerting neighbors to be on standby just in case. Cause of the blaze still under investigation. 37-year-old Jamison Richmond was arrested on August 11th and charged with 2 counts of attempted deliberate homicide at his Missoula Justice Court appearance yesterday. Deputy Missoula County Attorney Ryan Mickelson asked Judge Marie Anderson for $250,000 bail.
Broke into his ex-wife's house at 7 in the morning, pointed the revolver at her chest and pulled the trigger, but the chamber was empty. He then pistol whipped her. At that time, he pointed the gun at another male in the bed, pulled the trigger just as his estranged wife pushed his hands up, resulting in the firearm discharging into the ceiling. At that point, he ended up leaving the residence and apparently had a wheelman or driver outside waiting for him.
Mickelson outlined Richmond's extensive criminal history.
The defendant in this case has a history of violent offenses, including 4 prior felonies, 2 burglaries, a malicious mischief out of state, and a felony theft. The state feels that the bond of $250,000 is appropriate to ensure community safety and is commensurate with the nature of this offense.
Judge Anderson set bail at $250,000. His case will now go to Missoula District Court. In April of 2015, Walter Hill was found guilty of promoting prostitution after he admitted to advertising a 17-year-old Missoula girl for sex on Backpage.com. Hill received a 10-year sentence. However, all 10 years were suspended. He was let back out in public. That is until he was caught again last Friday at the Western Montana Fair. Police spokesman Travis Welsh explains.
It was about noon out at the fairgrounds. Probation officers arrested 48-year-old Walter Leon Hill, who is currently on probation for criminal possession of dangerous drugs and promoting prostitution. Mr. Hill was observed in conditions that violated his probation, and the probation officers, along with the assistance of the Missoula Police Department, took him into custody.
It appears Hill was caught using a cell phone, which was a probation violation. However, it was what police found on him after a deeper search that brought new charges.
A short time later, the probation officers discovered that Mr. Hill had, in fact, possessed a substance that later tested positive for methamphetamine. And so he is looking at new charges today for possession with intent to distribute.
Even though the girl in the original case was only 17, Hill was never charged with sexual exploitation of children because he accepted a plea deal. Hill only served 574 days in prison after his first conviction, but a parole violation and added drug charges could lead to a much longer stay this time. However, Hill refused to appear in Justice Court yesterday. Montana Rail Link reported on Monday that one of their coal trains derailed late Sunday night near Knoxon in northwest Montana. MRL spokesman Jim Lewis said the derailment occurred about 11 p.m.
Knoxon is located approximately 50 miles west of Thompson Falls, Montana. No injuries occurred and the train was not hauling hazardous material. Approximately 30 cars derailed. The estimated time for rail traffic to resume has not been determined at this time. The cause of the incident is under investigation.
According to Montana Rail Link's website, one freight train is the equivalent of 350 semi-trucks. One candidate to be the next mayor of Missoula is saying goodbye, and now there's only two, namely incumbent John Engen and challenger Lisa Tripke. Madison Schroeder announced that she would be stepping out of the race yesterday, which was the last day for municipal candidates to withdraw.
Regarding my withdrawal from the race, moving forward, I'll be endorsing Lisa Tripke. I feel at this time in Missoula's history, it's really important that we make a change in leadership, and I feel like Lisa is the candidate that can make that happen right now, and so that's why I'm choosing to support her.
Schrader says she met face-to-face with Tripke and found they saw things nearly eye to eye.
Getting to know her and then just observing how she's behaved publicly and what her stances are on certain issues, it just became more and more apparent. We're so like-minded on so many things, it just made sense for us to kind of join forces and share experiences. And I think Lisa is going to be an awesome mayor. I'm just really looking forward to it.
Schrader also said she's not necessarily finished with politics. She may be up to bat for another position sometime in the future. Well, a couple of stories from our neighbors to the south in Wyoming. Summer business is down in Jackson Hole. However, the shortfall should be made up during the week of August 21st, when upwards of 100,000 people are expected to descend upon Jackson Hole to view the total solar eclipse. The Jackson Hole News and Guide reports the town's lodging occupancy was down an average of 5% from last year, this May, June, and July. The Wyoming Department of Revenue said sales tax income returned to Teton County was down 22% in the month of June alone. Town officials say last year may be tough to match because 2016 was the centennial celebration of the National Park Service. And a proposal to use federal money to help boost the coal industry in the eastern U.S. is raising protests in Wyoming. Wyoming Mining Association Executive Director Travis Detty said he thinks it's misguided to provide federal support to a particular region against another. Detty says Wyoming coal would be at a competitive disadvantage. Our news talk time now is 6:12.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly sunny skies today with our high temperatures in the upper 70s and low 80s. Winds will be out of the west-northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the low 50s. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for Missoula's KECI 13.